In 2026, while the European and American middle class is drowning under a record $1.67 trillion in auto debt just to look rich, actual millionaires are doing the exact opposite. They are quietly driving ordinary cars worth under $30,000, not because they're cheap, but because they understand a brutal truth. In a society hyper-focused on predatory lawsuits, your luxury car is not a symbol of success, it is a moving target. Let me introduce you to Tyler. Every morning he pulls into the office lot in a leased matte black BMW X5, where the payments eat up $839 a month. Tyler works in corporate marketing, pulling in $94,000 a year, and to him, that BMW X5 is a rolling business card. His actual net worth? Just $17,000. Now look at Margaret. She parks in the back corner of the exact same lot and drives a used 2020 Toyota Camry she bought for cash. Margaret is the head of operations in the same building, making $112,000 a year, and her net worth is $1.1 million. Tyler looks rich, Margaret is rich. Most financial channels will tell you Margaret is wealthy because she saved her money and let it compound, but that is only half the story. The truth is, wealthy individuals across the West are deliberately adopting a strategy known as stealth wealth. They're hiding in plain sight. They drive ordinary cars to build an invisible psychological and legal shield around their money, because the moment you drive a statement, you create a massive liability. To understand why Tyler is drowning while Margaret is thriving, we have to look at a brilliant piece of financial research by Dr. Thomas Stanley, who coined a specific term for people like Tyler, the aspirational rich. These aren't wealthy people. These are people who desperately want to look wealthy, spending tomorrow's unearned income to buy today's social validation. In modern society, a car is no longer just a tool to get you from point A to point B. It has evolved into the ultimate identity anchor. Think about it. Your house is only seen by your neighbors and your stock portfolio is completely invisible to the world, but your car is a billboard you drive through traffic, into the office parking lot, and past the valet on a weekend date. It broadcasts a loud, non-verbal message about your perceived economic status to hundreds of strangers every single day. For Tyler, that leased BMW X5 is a physical business card. He wants his coworkers, his clients, and his boss to look out the window and assume he is highly successful, competent, and pulling in massive checks. The problem is, the card is entirely fake, and the monthly premium to keep that illusion alive is destroying his financial future. And Tyler is not alone. This is an absolute epidemic across modern Western society. If we look at the reality of 2026, the data is staggering. The average monthly payment for a new vehicle in America has climbed to an all-time high of $772. Let that sink in. Nearly $800 every single month vanishing from the average household budget. Even worse, 84-month car loans, 7 full years of compounding interest on an asset that depreciates the second you drive it off the lot, have become completely normalized. Many people are now making massive payments on vehicles that are worth significantly less than what they actually owe on the loan. They're completely underwater, trapped in a cycle of wealth destruction. The underlying issue here is a fundamental flaw in how the middle class evaluates financial health versus how the truly wealthy evaluate it. The poor and the middle class evaluate wealth purely through visible spending. If you drive a luxury SUV, wear designer clothes, and vacation in Saint-Tropez, they assume you are rich. But the truly wealthy know better. They measure wealth through invisible accumulation. Real wealth is the money that hasn't been spent. It is the real estate generating passive income, the index funds compounding quietly in the dark, and the liquidity available to seize opportunities. Tyler chose appearance, Margaret chose accumulation, and the gap between their financial realities started with that single choice in the parking lot. But why do so many people fall into this trap? Why do smart, hard-working professionals willingly sign up for 7 years of financial shackles just to get an approving nod from strangers they don't even like? Why does Tyler accept this massive burden just for a few seconds of social status? The answer lies in a deep psychological phenomenon, a behavioral bias that car manufacturers and finance companies have spent billions of dollars to perfect and exploit. And that brings us to the real secret that millionaires like Margaret know, which completely flips the psychology of spending on its head. This brings us to the core strategy that separates the truly wealthy from the pretenders: stealth wealth. The concept is simple, yet incredibly powerful. It is the deliberate choice to obscure your true financial strength from the public eye.
And in the Western world, especially across the United States and highly litigious European societies, this isn't just a quirky lifestyle choice. It is a calculated, strategic defensive measure. Think about what happens when you drive a high-end luxury vehicle. You think you are projecting success, power, and prestige, but in reality, you are stripping away your own privacy and exposing your neck. You are effectively shouting to the world, "Look over here, I have a deep pocket full of cash." Asset protection law firms, like the prominent Jeffrey Verdon Law Group, have been warning high net worth clients about this exact vulnerability for years. They call it the deep pocket syndrome. In countries dominated by aggressive civil litigation, your visible assets dictate how likely you are to be targeted. If you get into a minor, routine fender bender while driving a 2012 Honda Civic, the other driver is highly likely to exchange insurance information, shake hands, and move on with their day, because they assume there is nothing extra to gain from you. But what happens if you get into that exact same minor scratch while sitting behind the wheel of a brand new six-figure Porsche Cayenne or a leased Mercedes G-Wagon? Everything changes instantly. The incentives warp. Suddenly, the minor scratch becomes an opportunity. The other party isn't looking at a dented bumper anymore. They're looking at a payday. They immediately see an individual with deep pockets, premium insurance limits, and exploitable liquid cash. Within hours, opportunistic personal injury lawyers are involved. Vague symptoms of whiplash suddenly appear out of nowhere. Dueling insurance adjusters circle. And you are no longer just an individual involved in a common road accident. You are an active target for a predatory, bad faith lawsuit. Here's the ultimate mind-bending twist that the middle class completely fails to see. Your luxury car does not protect your status. It actively threatens your financial security. When millionaires like Margaret choose to drive a plain Toyota Camry or a standard Ford F-150, they are not practicing extreme minimalism, nor are they trying to save a few pennies on gas or punish themselves by avoiding luxury comfort. It is an active, aggressive, and highly intelligent choice to buy absolute legal and psychological peace of mind. By driving a vehicle that blends seamlessly into the background noise of everyday traffic, they build an invisible shield around their estate and completely eliminate the target on their back. In a culture obsessed with exhibitionism, flashing wealth is an immense liability. Every time you show off, you invite unnecessary scrutiny from tax authorities, insurance predators, and professional grifters. The middle class treats their car as a weapon to demand respect from strangers. The wealthy treat their car as a camouflage suit to avoid being hunted. Driving a depreciating, loud piece of luxury metal isn't status. It is a trap that forces you to constantly look over your shoulder, wondering who is trying to take a piece of what you built. Stealth wealth flips the entire script and grants you the ultimate luxury that money can actually buy in the West, the luxury of being completely ignored. But this choice raises a deeper, much more uncomfortable question about our psychology. If the financial risk is so incredibly high and the legal targets are so blindingly obvious, why do smart professionals still fall over themselves to sign the paperwork for these rolling liabilities? Why is the pressure to conform and look rich so suffocatingly heavy in our professional circles? And how do you mentally reprogram yourself to break completely free from it? To break completely free from this cycle, you have to understand a psychological trait found in almost every self-made wealthy individual across the West: secure high self-worth. People with high self-worth don't need a heavy piece of moving metal to broadcast their competence. Their identity is anchored inward, not outward. They know who they are, and more importantly, their bank accounts know what they are worth. Look at the giants. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors in history, famously drove a hail-damaged Cadillac that he bought with a discount because he refused to waste capital on a brand-new status symbol. Mark Zuckerberg, worth over $100 billion, is routinely spotted navigating Silicon Valley in a standard Volkswagen Golf GTI. These titanic minds don't care about the validation of a valet driver or a passing stranger. They realize that relying on a luxury exterior to prove your internal value is a game played exclusively by the insecure. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, especially those of you in real estate, high-ticket sales, or wealth management. You've been told the classic industry narrative: I have to drive a Mercedes or a BMW. If I pull up in a Honda Civic, my clients will think I'm failing and I'll lose the contract. Let's dismantle that myth right now. In a modern, highly transparent market, sophisticated clients are getting smarter. When a high net worth client sees a young broker pull up in a flashy, overpriced sports car, a red flag goes up.
They don't think, wow, look how successful he is. Instead, they think, there goes my commission. This guy is desperate for a fast closing because he has a massive lease payment due on Friday. High-end clients value competence, integrity, and deep market knowledge. They do not value a luxury car payment that they know is ultimately being funded right out of their own pockets. True professionals don't close deals because of what they drive. They close deals because of the value they bring to the table. This reveals a profound financial paradox. The extreme frugality of self-made millionaires regarding their vehicles is not a behavior they adopted after they became rich. It is the exact reason why they became rich in the first place. Think about the structure of a personal budget. In financial planning, we look at expenses as big rocks and pebbles. Your daily latte, your Netflix subscription, your weekend dinners, those are pebbles. They matter, but they won't break you. Your housing and your automobile, those are the massive, heavy, big rocks. When you make the strategic decision to downsize the big rock of your transportation costs to under 5% of your total household income, like Margaret did with her cash-purchased Camry, an incredible domino effect occurs. You instantly eliminate a massive monthly cash flow drain, eliminate predatory interest charges, and drastically lower your insurance premiums. By stabilizing that one single big rock, all the smaller pebbles of your financial life automatically fall into perfect discipline. You instantly unlock hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars of free cash flow every single month. That is capital that can be immediately routed into compounding assets like real estate, index funds, and private equity. The average middle-class professional spends their entire working life running on a hamster wheel, upgrading their car every 3 to 4 years, sacrificing millions of dollars in future compounding interest just to maintain a fleeting illusion of prestige. They are trading their ultimate freedom for a piece of depreciating leather and metal. The wealthy play a completely different game. They realize that real luxury isn't about owning a car that turns heads on the highway. It's about having the financial strength to walk away from any toxic job, survive any economic downturn, and control 100% of your own time. So what happens down the road when these two opposing financial philosophies finally collide? What does the end game look like for Tyler, who chose the illusion, versus Margaret, who chose the armor of stealth wealth? Fast forward to the end game, and the contrast becomes undeniable. At 34, Tyler is staring at an uncertain retirement, entirely trapped in a toxic financial anxiety, and all he has to show for his hard work is a legacy of hollow compliments in the office parking lot. Meanwhile, at 47, Margaret possesses total, unshakable peace of mind because her quiet Camry bought her the ultimate leverage: complete autonomy over her career, her time, and her life. Your car is never just a minor line item on a spreadsheet. It is a fundamental crossroads. Every time you sign a vehicle contract, you are forcing yourself to choose between two paths, performing a fake future for the applause of strangers or building a real one for yourself. One path gives you temporary ego, the other buys you permanent freedom. Take a look down at your driveway or out into your office parking lot today. Is the vehicle you are driving actually protecting your hard-earned assets with a shield of stealth wealth? Or is it acting as a shiny, empty business card built solely to impress people you don't even like or know? Take a moment, think about it honestly, and drop your answer in the comments below. Let's start a real conversation about what we are actually paying for. Because at the end of the day, the culture of exhibitionism is a losing game. The parking lot will completely forget about your luxury car the very second you press the gas pedal and drive away. But your investment account? Your investment account will remember every single dollar you chose to plant there for the rest of your life. Choose wealth, stop choosing the look of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis.